Hello, I'm John Thorne from Thorny Motorsport, and this video, which is quite long I'm afraid, we're going to go through all the Mclaren models and their dyno test and power measured as standard cars. Keep watching. Welcome back. Yes, power. In this particular video, which is part one of a two-parter, we are looking at the standard power figures for most of the Mclaren models. Now I say most, the intention of this particular video was to do all the models, but with coronavirus kicking around and restricting movement, we are short a couple of cars. And rather than wait 3 months for them to come through, we thought we'd release this video and then follow up with the other cars as we get to finish them off. So that's the first thing. So not every car is covered, but we got all the main Super Series cars, original series and current. So let's say 12C, 650 and a 720. The reason why I haven't done all of them is that most times when you see a dyno chart from a tuning or company, they've got a customer car in, put it on a dyno, run it, and then go, and that's the measurement for all the cars. Now, we specialise in McLarens, so it gives, from our perspective, just simply taking a car in, dynoing it, and off it go, isn't our way of measuring what we think is there as a standard car. So we spend a lot more time, a lot more cars, and a lot more runs to give us what we think are accurate numbers for the standard cars as they see fit. Now, the reason we do this is obviously we're in the tuning industry. We upgrade cars, we remap them and gain more power. So from our perspective, we need to be absolutely certain what the standard car is doing in terms of power and torque before we start adding things onto it and gaining. Now, that's when we do use our dyno for marketing to prove what we have done. But it also means that there is an element of, how should you say, a variance between dynos and also how people use them. Now, first things first, when it comes to dyno cells, these things are not thermometers. They are not accurate measurements of exact numbers as you would get from a ruler or a thermometer or a barometer. They are at best very close guesstimations as to what the car power is doing at the wheels and at the flywheel. Now, that's not to suggest they're not useful for what they do. Our particular dyno cell is £150,000 worth. It's not an insignificant sum of money for a company of our size to invest, but it's a crucial tool for us in developing product and also demonstrating the product works. Now, the first things first is that this is not going to be critical of other people's dynos or other people's measurements at all, okay? Dynos by definition read differently per different dynos. That is why when you have your car run on one dyno, it may give a different figure from another dyno, mainly because they're all different. They're all different ways of measuring things, and none of them are 100% accurate. If you speak to every dyno manufacturer and you're the guy who's paying good hard money, i.e. backed in a contract, none of them will guarantee any more than 95% accuracy at any given time, okay? Some of them will claim 100%, okay? But when you say, no problem, here's my check for $100,000, I'd like to buy the dyno, but I want in their contract terms, you will see them backpedaling pretty damn hard, okay? 95, 96, 97% is basically as far as they can go. So you imagine, on 100 horsepower output, you could be either 95 or 105. On a 500 horsepower, as you can see, percentage-wise, is quite a big variance. So please don't take any numbers you see from us or any other dyno figure out there as some kind of hard and fast, this is the exact number your car has, because it doesn't. It's as close as we can get in the measuring of time. The second aspect of dynos is that the cell and what they're in makes a crucial difference as to how they measure. Now, we're quite fortunate here, mainly because of history. We built our dyno cell back in the day, 10, 15, well, 17 years ago, primarily for the Vauxhall VX220 Opel Speedster. It's a rear-engined, turbocharged car when it came out. Now, we hadn't done it before, but we developed it for that. It was the world's biggest cooker when it comes to engine heat. And we had to design the dyno specifically so we could map and gain power on those particular cars, because we raced them. We raced 7 in total. Now, the normally aspirated versions were better, but the turbocharged cars were basically heat soaks. So we had to get a dyno cell that tried to get as much airflow as possible to actually replicate the open road. As a result of that, our particular dyno cell is designed for rear-engined, high heat generating cars. Now, the crucial thing about heat is how do we keep it cool? Airflow. Only way you can really do it. And you'll see some dynos and some videos out on the market there where people are holding fans, pointing into intakes and that kind of stuff. Now, that's better than nothing, frankly, but the point you have to consider with McLarens especially is that they're not designed to have hair dryers put into the intakes to try and cool things down. Give you an example, our particular dyno cell displaces 37,000 cubic feet per minute of air. That's high. It used to be one of the highest in the country. There are more out there now is the answer. When we have all 4 fans running, we have over 100,000 cubic feet per minute, which is a lot. Now, our dyno cell is essentially a wind tunnel. We have one fan at the back, which pulls, one fan at the front that pushes. We get a throw flow of air going through. That's crucial. So what we're trying to do is replicate what the car does on the open road. Now, we can't do that. You're driving on the road at 100 miles an hour. You're actually moving through millions of cubic feet per minute. We can't get near that with a fan. It could be 50 feet tall. It still won't get it. You're looking at a wind tunnel. Now, we have actually worked with wind tunnels when we did the dynamics on our GT3 BMW race cars. And 100-mile-an-hour wind is tough to stand up in, okay? But we can't get 100-mile-an-hour wind. It's about a volume. So in this example, we're pretty sure that our airflow and keeping the cars cool is a crucial part of what we measure. Now, the reason why we can do that is because A, we actually measure the intake temperatures on 2 different systems, both via the dyno cell and by the vehicle's onboard diagnostic kit, because we have it. So it means we can measure intake temperatures. And this is where Mclaren, in all their wonderful, they are the best engineers for keeping cars cool that we've ever seen. Okay, 720 behind me, the peak intake temperature we see is 44 degrees. Okay, that's still high, but it's nothing like the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s we see on some cars. And the moment you get those kind of intake temperatures, you will affect the reading of the car. So we know we're keeping the cars cool. We don't need to stand around with fans pointing at the sides. And the reason why is because we take advantage of McLaren's second wonderful aspect of technology, aerodynamics. Okay, if you look at the car and look where our fan is placed, it's plonked right in front of the car, right in the middle. Nothing ducting around the sides or pointing in. Because what happens is that McLaren and all the cars, it's points at 12C, 650, probably most important is 720, is that it sucks that airflow into the intakes. In the front, underneath the eyes, the radiators and the high pressure radiators, into the sides and intakes as well. It is literally scavenging every possible bit of airflow to go through the system, through the car, and keep it cool. And it does a fantastic job. So for us, we put the fan in the front, fan in the back, no issues with intake temperatures. So we're pretty well confident in terms of numbers that we're getting are very accurate. Again, there's nothing wrong with standing there with a guy holding a fan into an intake, but it's not going to generate much airflow. I don't care how big the fan is. It really can't be done. So what we're looking is we can take advantage of what McLaren does. Now, the last aspect about dynos and stuff is that they measure at the wheels, okay? They can't measure at the flywheel unless you have an engine dyno. Even hub dynos, where they bolt onto the hubs, still measure at the wheels. The problem that you have is in today's wonderful world, manufacturers release their power figures based on at the flywheel, i.e. the engine, okay? They put it on an engine dyno, which is a special frame, they pump fuel into it, pump air around it, and they measure the exact output of the engine at the crank or flywheel. You look at it. As a chassis dyno, we actually measure at the wheels. So what actually goes through down to the wheels and to the floor. So it takes into account transmission losses. Now, all dynos measure at the wheels and calculate back to the flywheel. And that calculation is the issue, which is why we think there are some various dyno runs out there that aren't quite, as we can see, as accurate. So what you've got is a McLaren manufacturer saying, here is the power at the engine. And then you've got people like us who are saying, here is the power at the wheels. Oh, and by the way, here's our calculation back to the engine. Now, all dynos do have very good calculations, but they're not the same. And they measure differently, different kinds. So you're never going to get a complete comparison. You're never going to get an accurate number in terms of exactly as you would be as an engine dyno. Only way for me to verify the power output of this 720 is take the engine out, put it on engine dyno and run it. Okay, a little impractical. So what we're doing is at the wheels measurement, is what we concentrate on that, and we calculate back to flywheel. All right, it's quite a crucial thing to have because that calculation can make a difference between 30, 40, 50 horsepower if you've got it wrong or what your dyno says. For example, our dyno, Dynamics dyno, calculates the flywheel power from the wheel power incorrectly. Okay, the reason why is that Dynamics on their particular dyno calculate transmission losses on a rear engine rear wheel drive car at about 24% losses. Okay, that's not a bad actual number to go for. Most people for a rear engine rear wheel drive car should be anywhere between 18 and 20% there or thereabouts. Okay, so it's not insignificant, they're not completely out. Front wheel drives are different, four wheel drive is different again. Four wheel drive can be 30, 40% losses, front wheel drive normally 15, 18% depending what you've got. And they're huge differences in cars. Now, we actually spoke to Dynamics and said, can we recalculate a dyno to recalculate different flywheel losses? And the short answer is we can't. It costs 150 grand as it is. I'm not putting a 10 grand into it just to get a calculation number. We measure at the wheels. Now, Our relationship with McLaren on the management side is probably best described as tenuous. But our relationship with McLaren and the engineers and the people who build them, both current working there and past, is pretty good. And the reason why is I think that we're engineers. We are motivated and turned on by the car's technology. And that's the bit we really fundamentally are so bowled over by these cars. Their technology level is so astounding. We have nothing but huge admiration and praise for the engineers who build them. And we've got to know quite a lot of them over the years. Indeed, some of them do work for us because they've left McLaren, they're doing their own things. Engine building, gearbox building, all this comes from in-house information that we have learned. Now, taking that into account, we've spent a long time talking to the engineers, and they are adamant, absolutely adamant, that the drivetrain losses from the McLaren gearboxes, bear in mind it's the same gearbox, same clutch on all the models, some difference in ratios, but the same in all the cars, is between 11 and 14%. Okay, they are hand on heart, they are saying they have measured this 1,000 times, and that's what they say the drivetrain losses are. Okay, now I believe them. All right, I believe them because they're better engineers than we are, and they built some most astounding cars I can think of. So when they say to me, in on the record, off the record, look, John, we've tested how many of these engines, 11 to 14% drivetrain losses. You never get an exact number, and it'll never be the same for every car. So steadily, is I'm going to run to. So we have done all of our testing based on calculating the flywheel figure at 15%. Okay, we're erring on a side of caution. Okay, we're saying there's a 15% drivetrain loss across all the models of the cars. So that's where we come up with our flywheel figure. Now remember, these are all standard cars, none of these modified at all standard cars. So we have measured every single car at the wheels, and then we've calculated back to what we think the flywheel figure, taking into account McLaren's own numbers for transition losses. And we verified these. We've spoken to Graziano, we've spoken to McLaren, all kinds of people. That 15%, they've all said, yeah, that's about right, John. Yeah, you give yourself a bit of leeway, we'd be happy with that. Now, the other thing about it, I mentioned about other dynos, like being a car in dyno, that's a power figure, okay? We're a bit more detailed than that. Give you an example. We have now dynos something like 35 12Cs, about 28 650s, and about 11 or 12 720s, okay? Total number of dyno runs on a 12C, we've done nearly 300 runs on the McLaren 12C cars. We've done just over 200 runs on 650s. We've done about 60, 70 runs on 720s. So still, as it goes through, this isn't based on a dyno run of a car. This is multiple cars, multiple days, multiple weather conditions, and multiple runs. This particular car, the 720, has had 9 runs today. Okay, so that's quite a lot. So hence we measure the heat and heat soak, everything else is there. We are supremely confident that what we are getting is representative numbers. Now this is why we haven't got 3 vehicles in this video. The 570 and the 540, the 600 LT and the 675 LT. Now we have dynoed all those vehicles. We own one ourselves, but we haven't done enough. We've only done a couple of cars. And that for us is not enough data for us to get a position to say, this is what we think the standard figure is. Okay, so the coronavirus kind of threw that a little bit. We had about 670, 675 and 600 LTs all booked in for dyno runs. And of course, the virus has kicked up, everyone shut down. Now, rather than wait 3 months for this video to come out, we're going to add that video into either part 2, and then a part 3 of this particular series of videos is going to be modified cars, where we're going to show standard cars, then with a stage 1 remap, just a map on its own, then with a high breathing exhaust as well. Okay, right, you sat through all my fluffle and my gear details. What have we got? Okay, so first things first, we've done in order of the cars being done. First car we did was the 12C. Okay, so 12C power, as you can see from the chart, we have measured it. And this is a mean average measurement, not one car, as I said, over a period of time, of 518 horsepower at the wheels. Okay, again, this is measuring at the wheels of the car. If we apply a 15% drivetrain loss, which is what we are confident what McLaren say is the right drivetrain loss, we end up with 610 horsepower at the crank. Now, McLaren claim 614 horsepower. Even with a 95% accuracy ratio of dynos, that's pretty much spot on the numbers. Okay, we're happy with that. We think that confirms exactly what McLaren are claiming. 614 horsepower, and this is with the upgrade. Remember, they came out with 590, or their upgrade is 614, half of the 2012, I think it was, as an upgrade. So we are very happy that our dyno is really accurately, and we're pretty happy that McLaren is actually giving you a car that you pay for. You've got 614 horsepower, that's what you pretty much got. Okay? On 650. Now 650, again, McLaren claim 641 horsepower, 650 PS. Remember, we work to BHP because we're old school. But McLaren claim 641 brake horsepower at the crank, okay, so 650 PS. Okay, we have measured 544 brake horsepower at the wheels. Take into account that 15% drivetrain loss, again, it's spot on 641 horsepower. So again, exact numbers that McLaren are claiming. Now, this lots of runs we've done. The fact he had the exact number on 15% is probably a bit of a fluke, but the fact of life is, it's pretty much the same. It's exactly what McLaren claimed to have. And finally, the 720. Now, we've only done, I think, 92 runs on this particular model on 5 different cars. So there's probably still more data to go up with. But also, some of the cars we've driven are very low mileage. Some are 800 miles on the clock. Engines just take time to get in-power. But the same thing we applied. With 599 horsepower at the wheels, apply the 15% drivetrain losses at McLaren, we're very confident they're right, is 705 horsepower at the crank, compared to 710 horsepower claimed by McLaren. See 720 PS, 710 brake horsepower. So that's the 12C, the 650, and the 720, standard cars. Add the cars together, we've done nearly 400 dyno runs on these cars, on multiple cars. They're coming up with the numbers that McLaren state you get when you buy the car. That's pretty good. All right, there's a lot of manufacturers out there who give you all kinds of bullshit about what power they've got. And you can never replicate on the road. I won't mention any names, but been several people who've ended up suing people because their car didn't give the power they gave. McLaren, I have to say, anyone who doubted this, probably a bit mad, are giving the numbers on the spot. They really are generating what you pay for. And that's impressive for any manufacturer, even more so for a company the size as small it is. So we're delighted, happy with that. Now, the controversy side of this is that there are people out there claiming much higher numbers. Now, you're never going to get McLaren arguing with this. They sell cars and living. If someone says your 720 is running 850 brake horsepower at the wheels as a standard car, you know what? It's not happening. Okay, I'm sorry about that. But the fact of life is that you are getting what you paid for, 720 PS. But it's an astounding car. How anyone can claim more than that, who knows? But that's not our position. We're not criticizing them. If that's what they've measured, I'm sure they're right. Okay, but we can only go by what we see here. And what we see here is those 3 particular models are bang on the numbers for a standard car. Now, like I said, coronavirus has knocked us a little bit. We're still doing more to do on the 600 LT, the 675 LT, and the 5 Sport Series. We have our own 570 here. We've only done 30, 40 runs on it. It's not enough. We need more, and we need more cars. So we are going to start doing more as things start to relax virus-wise. And then secondly, on the third part of this video, modifications. We're going to show a 12C, then with a remat, then with the re-input exhaust and filters. Same with the 650, same with 720, same with 570. We've done all the models, we've done all the stages on them, we're happy with the gains we've got, but this is a video primarily about your standard car you're driving now. Those who are not interested in modifying cars, which, you know, you do exist. But it means that bottom line, these 3 models are exactly as said and give McLaren a pat on the back. The cars they are releasing are given the power that they say you're getting. And in this modern world, that's not hard to achieve, not easy to do sometimes. All right, hope this is useful. Please, obviously, any comments you got, we do like seeing them. And please do hit subscribe, because all the stuff coming through, people we get a lot of people viewing the videos, not many subscribers. So hit the subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, new one coming through. Hope that's useful for you. Any comments you've got and process behind it, please let us know. Happy to help. All right, thanks for watching. Cheers. Get in on it.